All right. We've modified the bass voice, and now we're going to modify the second voice. Now there's some considerations that have to come into play here. First of all, contrary movement is preferable. And we're going to do our best to avoid consonances. We're going to do our very best to avoid, I'm sorry, we're going to do our very best to avoid dissonances. We want consonant. Consonance is good, dissonance is bad, but again, as a 20th century musician, dissonance isn't always bad. So I'm not afraid of it. If it leads me to dissonance as I'm writing a line, as long as I don't camp out there too much, I can get away. Dissonance being seconds, sevenths, sometimes any weird intervals like diminished fourths or augmented fourths or diminished fifths, things of that nature. Anyway, let's get going. We've already got our bass voice written. Now we're going to look at modifying the tenor voice, or in our case, the viola part. Above it, you see, this is the part I started with. Okay? And here's where I ended up with. Again, I want the line to be relatively singable, so it has to make some kind of musical sense that way. We need to get from a C to a B. That was my goal. So what I did was I come down from C to an A. Now why? Well, a couple reasons here. First of all, my bass voice is moving up from an E to an F. Right? So I'm coming down from a C to an A. Now why did I choose an A? Well, I chose an A because A is a third above an F. Thirds and sixths are always desirable. Nothing ever bad with it. So I decided, okay, well, I'm going to go put an A there, and it's contrary motion going down here where I went up here. Now I continue up from an F to a G. Well, this measure has a B in it. I decided I'm going to keep this downward motion because this is going up. I went down from A down to a G. Now that's contrary motion into a perfect interval. That's good. Parallel and similar motion to perfect intervals are bad, usually. So anyway, so I did this. I went from the A down to a G, and now here, you notice this measure has a half note, 2 quarter notes. Well, I'm going to do 2 quarter notes and a half note. So again, I'm mixing it up a little bit. While this voice is moving, this voice is still. While this voice is still, this voice is moving. So I decided to go from a G, A, getting up to the B, which was my target note, right? So this, and what's neat is, in this last 2 beats of this measure, I have a B and a D going against a B, so that's going to be good. So let's go ahead and let's go to our next voice. Our next measure. Get up here to this place. Here we are. Here's my last 3 measures of this exercise. I'm coming from a B in the previous measure. Remember what I told you? A B wants to go to C, right? Well, okay, well, there's my target note, C. I went C, and I got a C down here. Now this is an A minor chord. It's a 6th chord, right? Lowercase Roman numeral denotes a minor. It's an A minor, and I went from a C to an E in the bass. So I just come down the C major scale. C, B, A, G. All right? Now, my wife, who teaches elementary school music theory, said something to me the other day which was really eye-opening. And it's a way of looking at music that she's teaching the little ones, and it's really working great. They know, some of these little ones know what a chord is. There's 3 notes in a chord. Like in this case, it would be an A, a C, and an E. And she said that they'll look at a measure. Her piano students will look at a measure, and they will see that the majority of the notes in a measure, or in 2 measures, like here, low voice, middle voice, the majority of these notes come from a certain chord. And so if the preponderance of notes come from a chord, that's the chord of that measure. I thought that was pretty stinking awesome. So if you look at this, here's a C, an E, there's a G, there's an A, and a C. The only note that doesn't belong out of a minor or A minor 7 chord is that guy, the B. So this is an A minor. This measure belongs to an A minor chord. Pretty awesome. So anyway, again, I've got the bass voice moving up from C to E, going upwards. So I had my tenor voice or viola voice moving downward stepwise. I'm skipping below C to E, stepping down from here. All right, and then I go to an A half note. Why an A? Well, take a look at the first note of the bass voice. It's an F. Again, F, A. It's a third away. Thirds are always good. And my bass voice is moving, so I kept this one stationary. And again, my bass voice goes down to a half note on a D, so I moved here. And I come down from a G to an F. Now, this is kind of cool. D to G is a fourth. That's not bad. And D to F is a third. So it's like going from a not bad interval to a really sweet interval. Thirds are sweet. Fourth are kind of ambivalent. They can be good or bad. They're okay. Thirds, thumbs up. So we've got the F there. And then on the very last chord, the bass voice is a C. I want my target note to be an E. I'm a big sucker for what's called a plagal cadence. A plagal cadence is what we know as an amen ending. It says, amen. We hear that in church all the time. Amen. F, E. So I decided to hang this F here out 2 more beats so that we resolve to that. Okay, does it make sense? Good. All right, so now I'm not going to play these parts for you just yet. We're going to go, in the next section, we're going to go to the third voice of our 3-part accompaniment and see what we can come up with there. All right? Mr. G out.